November 23rd, 1407, Paris, a city of intrigue, betrayal, and bloodshed. On this day, a powerful duke was slain in the streets, and the echoes of his death would reverberate through France for decades.
Louis I, Duke of Orléans, brother to King Charles VI, was a man of ambition and influence, but his power made him enemies, and on that fateful day, those enemies struck.
Who was this ill-fated duke? What did he do to acquire so many powerful enemies?
Did he deserve his fate, or was he simply a victim of political scheming?
And what would this death mean for the English monarch set to take the center stage in just a few short...
I swear to God.
What? It's relevant. Louis was the younger brother of King Charles VI of France and a powerful and polarizing figure in his day. Owing to the king's highly public struggles with mental illness, Louis worked with Charles's wife, Queen Isabeau, to try to lead the kingdom during Charles' frequent bouts of insanity. So Louis wasn't just dealing with scheming cousins and political enemies. Oh no. He also had Charles, his brother, who, let's just say, was a little unhinged.
A little. Charles's bouts of insanity were legendary. One week he'd be charming at court. The next he'd be convinced the walls were talking, or that invisible assassins were plotting against him.
And of course, Charles' unpredictable behavior made life absolutely terrifying for Louis. Imagine trying to navigate the treacherous politics of France while your own brother might flip from Prince Charming to full-blown paranoid lunatic in a matter of hours. Not exactly a security blanket situation.
Louis had enemies in the Burgundians, the Armagnacs, the court, but Charles was chaos incarnate. Any decision Louis made could trigger Charles' wrath, or worse, make him a target because the prince's erratic fears.
Was Louis a tragic victim of his own brother's instability? So the main suspect was John the Fearless, Louis's first cousin.
Yeah, because he went around openly bragging about it.
He wasn't just some distant noble plotting from afar. No, he was Louis's cousin, blood-related family.
Same royal bloodline, same ambition, but wildly different personalities. Louis, charming, bold, consolidating wealth and power. John, ruthless, calculating, and, well, fearless.
John the Fearless. Sounds heroic, right? Wrong. This guy's nickname was earned in the most terrifying way, fearless enough to kill for power. And when family drama meets politics, things get deadly fast. Louis snatching power and humiliating John's Burgundian faction wasn't just a slight, it was a threat. And in this world, threats were rarely left unanswered.
Rumor had it he was cozying up with Queen Isabeau, and he wasn't shy about consolidating power. Louis expelled the Burgundians from the council, grabbed most of the royal treasury, and even bought up chunks of territory like Luxembourg to slice up Burgundy's possessions. Basically, he was making John's life hell, and that's putting it mildly.
From John the Fearless' perspective, Louis wasn't just a rival, he was an existential threat. Not only had Louis taken the money and influence that John felt was rightfully his, but he had also humiliated the Burgundian faction in front of the rest of the nobility. In the brutal, paranoid world of early 15th century France, grievances like this were rarely left unresolved. So, motive? Check. Opportunity? Check. And as history tells us, John was certainly fearless enough to act.
But then so was the Queen. Rumors swirled that she and Louis had been very close enough to spark whispers of an affair. If that were true, she could have had motives to silence him before gossip damaged her reputation, or even out of palace intrigue.
Couple that with the men at court and you have a boiling pot of tension. Louis's dominance over the treasury, his lavish spending, and his tendency to overrule other magnates made him deeply unpopular. It wasn't just Burgundy who resented him. Plenty of princes saw him as arrogant and dangerously self-serving. Removing him would rebalance power within the regency.
Louis had just left Queen Isabeau's residence near the Hotel Barbet, a fashionable district of Paris, late on November 23, 1407. He was riding on horseback with a small retinue, carrying only a lantern bearer to light the narrow, muddy streets. As he turned down the Rue Vieille du Temple, a group of armed men lay in wait in a butcher's stall. John the Fearless's hired assassins. One grabbed Louis's reins, pulling him from the horse, while another struck him across the head with an axe, splitting his skull. Louis cried out for help, but men swarmed him, hacking at him with swords and clubs. Contemporary witnesses say they struck him so many times his body was hardly to be recognized. His lantern bearer fled, spreading the alarm. But by the time anyone had arrived, the assassins had vanished, leaving the Duke of Orléans dead in the filth of the street. When the crowd gathered, the sight shocked Paris. The king's brother lying butchered in public like a common criminal.
Dragged from his horse, struck down by blades in the dark, Duke Louis's final cries still echo throughout the centuries. Was it truly John the Fearless, boldly claiming vengeance, or was it a darker plot born in the shadows of a fractured court? Over 600 years later, the blood has long since faded, but perhaps his spirit still wanders Paris, searching for justice that never came. History leaves us with no ghost stories here, no records of hauntings tied to this spot, and yet it's hard not to wonder, after such a brutal end, might the restless spirit of Louis still wander these narrow Parisian streets, mourning his stolen future? And as far as what really happened that night, well, that might remain a mystery.
Well, if it isn't the dearest Duke, come to tuck me in.
You have a step, Louis. One day your tongue will cost you your head.
Oh, me and my tongue are getting along well enough, I'd say. A good night from the Queen.